Hey guys, welcome to Bastion Time. I am your host Bastion. This is Nintendo News. Let's get to that news, shall we? Now, first of all, GameStop has been very positive about the Switch for good reason, because apparently, every time they get stock, it immediately sells out. And their projection is that sales, first of all, they're saying sales of it are phenomenal, and that they think it will even eclipse the Wii. Now, for those who don't remember, and just remember all the negativity about the Wii that eventually came along, people loved the Wii when it first came out. It was basically impossible to find one for months because everybody was buying it because it was this revolutionary thing. It had motion control, which was so cool back then. So basically, it sold extremely well, such that it was a real struggle to find one in a store at any point for a good half of a year or so. So that's the case, of course, now with the Switch. It wasn't the case with the Wii U, but it is the case with the Switch, and so GameStop is saying they think sales for the Switch are even going to eclipse the Wii, which was like one of the best-selling consoles of all time. So that's pretty interesting. If you want to read that article, there's a link down there for you. Our next story is a really awesome video from Game Explained. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing yet, but it's fascinating. I love this kind of stuff. It basically takes the very first trailer for what we were then calling Zelda Wii U, and then trying to find those locations once again in Breath of the Wild. And you might think, well, that shouldn't be too hard. Well, it isn't hard exactly, but what is really interesting is it changed a lot, so much more than I thought. I mean, down to little tiny things like, oh, this hill is bigger, this mountain's bigger, there's a tree here where there wasn't, or, things like that. But also just the color palette, actually, I noticed, is extremely different. In in Zelda Wii U, there's like kind of this blue mist across everything, which is really interesting. I'm not sure why they were originally doing that, but I remember at the time thinking it looked beautiful. But when we see that versus Breath of the Wild as it now exists, wow, they really improved. I had no idea. I loved what Zelda Wii U looked like when it was first shown, but Breath of the Wild is so much better. But in any case, it's very fascinating if you're into that kind of stuff. I'm gonna eventually watch the whole thing, probably after I finish recording this video, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. There is a link down there for you for that video. Our next story is baffling. Basically, somebody from Cyanogen, I've never heard of this company, but apparently they're known for making operating systems for Android-based phones. They posted on Twitter that Nintendo approached them way back in the infancy of the Switch about making the OS for the Switch, and that supposedly they told Nintendo to stick it. I'm sure that's not the terminology they use with Nintendo, but why? Did they not want money? Did they not want to be affiliated with basically the people who invented video games? It's just so confusing why they would have told them to stick it. They didn't go into any detail about why. But, maybe Nintendo wasn't offering them enough money to develop this or whatever, but that would have been good information to know. They didn't go into any of that. They just said, oh yeah, Nintendo approached us to do the OS for Switch and we told them to stick it. Why? That's dumb. That makes no sense. But in any case, if you want to take a look at that tweet, there's a link down there for you. That's it for this episode of Nintendo News. See you guys probably tomorrow for more news. Bye, guys.